Time is what I need to say.
It is showtime. Here we are. So,
Here we are.
all right. And back together
And
again.
back. I really hope you missed me. I mean, I listened.
I did.
It didn't sound like you missed me too much.
We did miss you. It was fun. It was fun having Will. Shout out, Will. Thank you.
Thank you, Will, very much. Thank you.
Yeah, all of our co-hosts, Will and Carrie and Tim, the stand-ins, always fantastic. But but I did miss you. Did you have a good time?
I was driving. We were in the middle of the Catskills in New York, and when I tell you, every now and then Tim would be like, "There's a house for sale," and I was like, "Oh hell no, I am not a rural kind of girl."
Oh,
like,
come on!
No. I'm like, this is not my energy, And
I got some tips for you.
Yeah, nope. I'm really good. So anyway, it was lovely, and my niece's wedding was exactly what she needed to be. It was like very rustic and very earthy and just beautiful in basically like a barn that she single-handedly converted into a venue.
Wow.
It was beautiful. So wonderful weekend with family. We all piled into an Airbnb, my kids and my parents, like all of us together. So it was a great, it was a good weekend. But yeah, Friday I was literally off the map.
Well, tell your niece if she wants to convert a barn. She'd give me a call because
you have no idea. She'd be like on it. It's funny. She could probably make a living doing that sort of thing because she definitely has an eye for how to make a rustic space like that beautiful. I mean, it was transformed. So,
well, other conversations. Speaking of transform, lots of transformation happening, right?
Lots of transformation, business transformation, some might say.
Yeah, yes, it was a busy week. All types of stuff, as always. But there was just a ton of stuff to get to. So, do you want to kick us off?
Start? Well, yeah, I think it's funny because when I looked at everything that was kind of being thrown out this week, I was like, look, I'm sorry, but shout out to Protobrand, man, because the image, because of the red pants, right? Like that everybody in the industry has sort of said, well, the red pants. However, can you not picture Anders and his team like in the red pants every time their name comes up? It's so effective. So kudos to them. They've partnered with Brandtrust to combine behavioral science with AI expertise for brand tracking, kind of another partnership that is going to move those firms into the future, which I think is the big story with this partnership.
Absolutely, and big fan of both businesses. Daryl and his team at Brandtrust, just some amazing consultative work as well, and of course Anders and everything that they've done in metaphor elicitation and expanding that. It seems like a match made in heaven to me. So, so yes, shout out to both companies.
And more evidence of these, because they're partnerships, right? They're just publicly made partnerships. Not everything that we're sharing is a specific merger, where there's that. These partnerships are designed for both companies to remain intact and keep operating, but with that, oh my gosh, symbiotic capabilities. Like it's really a nice business model that I wish more people would look into.
Yes, very synergistic, right? Yeah. And the and more in our industry, right? When we have this bifurcation between tech and service, and both are equally valid, right? And needed. Not all companies have the wherewithal to combine those, and that can be challenging. So these type partnerships do make sense. Absolutely. And especially when they're aligned to philosophically, to the approach of applied behavioral science. I mean, that really is the deal for both of them. And I think it makes great sense. So I was thrilled to see that. Yep.
Good stuff.
Well, then they're more to a merger, right? Voxco and Ascribe. And, and it's really interesting because Voxco is one of those companies that, they have been around for forever, have been one of the foundational kind of data collection platforms, but you don't hear about them all the time, right? They've been like the Intel Inside, and for a lot of companies, and they did a private equity deal a few years back, and then they acquired Ascribe, which has been around forever as well. It's a coding platform, then more text analytics, now more AI. and I think that's really the story there is the incorporation of a data collection platform like Voxco, which has always had qual and quant capabilities, augmenting that with the ability to analyze data in an unstructured way. We used Ascribe years ago. They were a grip partner.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
And this was long before the era of AI. They were always forward looking, especially in the way they visualize data. I really liked how they approached that. And this was probably, maybe even 10 years ago. So cool to see, industry stalwarts coming together.
And what I like about it is, if I put my, vendor hat on from when I was on, like literally on the supplier side, and I think, one approach is to figure out like where are we losing to the competition because we don't have these offerings or these features aren't a part of what we bring to the table. And instead of saying, oh, let's hire to shore that up or let's grow our capabilities, thinking strategically about who can we, again, partner with, who might we have that synergy with, to use that word too. Like it's just a different way of looking at filling a gap in your offerings that I think could be a win-win if you share values, if there's something at a high level that will allow you to collaborate together beautifully. Because I imagine some of these partnerships might fizzle out. Like it might seem really good in theory, but do the work to make sure it's solid, right?
Absolutely. Like any relationship. And yes, I mean, fundamentally every business as they grow has build, buy, or partner, right? To drive growth, especially from a technology standpoint. So, we're no surprise we're seeing more of that occurring, and I think we will continue to see more. I actually just got the call with another company on actually the past 24 hours. I've had probably 5 calls, variations on a theme of this idea of mergers and acquisitions and build by partner approaches. And I always call it the Reese's cup, right? So where do you they're chocolate and someone else's peanut butter, and how do you come together to make the Reese's cup?
Chocolate and peanut butter.
Oh yeah,
delightful. That's a delightful way of saying it. So much better than peanut butter and jelly.
Yes, absolutely. Or
milk and cookies,
peanut butter and bacon. We'll go a little Elvis there. Oh no, if you don't try peanut butter and bacon, I'm telling you guys, it is a phenomenal combination.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Since we're doing this, there is, Kyle, who is like my bonus son, his mother, who part of the reason he became my bonus son is because his mother passed away when he was very young, but she had a chocolate chip cookie recipe that had bacon in it. And I was like, I just can't make sense of that at the time. But yeah, like that was her cookie recipe, was to put bacon in the chocolate chip cookies. So
bacon is meat candy. I mean, so I'm all for it. Anyway, we digress.
Anyway. All right. Well, let's talk about growth in a different way, right? Because I thought this was interesting, and like some of this comes from Research Live. So again, hats off to the people that are posting this stuff. Lenny and I can only react to what we see, what either shows up in our news feeds or is on some sort of a news site, or that you're emailing us at the exchange at greenbook.org. We can see things there also. But anyway, Vypr expanding into the US, a UK-based consumer insights platform, bringing stuff over here. And I always think that's really interesting when one of those companies wants to jump the pond in either direction and start to do business there, because that level of expansion doesn't come easily, right? It involves knowing the cultural nuances, but also then, having the team in place. So anyway, good luck in that expansion. More power to you.
Absolutely. And interesting, data-driven new product development. So let's think of it as a next generation basis, if you will. Which again, one of these conversations I was having earlier today, I was thinking about the 2 areas of biggest waste in enterprise is one, advertising, and the other is new product development. So many new products fail. So there's always opportunities for new players coming in that can provide data-driven approaches to enhance the new product development lifecycle and ensure certainty, or at least increase, your level of certainty in a new product launch. So be interesting to see. I'd never heard of Vypr, so I'll look forward to seeing what they do in the US.
Cool. Yeah, cool stuff.
Yep.
I like it.
And then we got Protege.
Protege. So, this is sort of like, again, growth in a different way by launching a new feature. It is one of, I feel like every week, Lenny, we say, and this company now has an AI offering, and this company now has an AI offering. Like,
because we do, because that is the case every week. They're literally.
But everybody needs to. Oh my goodness, I cannot wait till our AI event because I don't want to spoil our opening keynote, but I was just on the phone with him this morning discussing kind of where we're going in the future, and I'm like, our audience 100% needs to be paying attention to this talk, if none other. 10 a.m. the first morning, friends. We're going to we have a consultant on who's going to be kind of sharing a look forward, and this launching of a new feature, it at some point, this will be just how we live our lives. Just like, as we've said before, our mobile phones are part of our lives. At some point, conversational AI will just be how we do things, and we won't be thinking about it this much.
Yes.
So,
which particularly is for a company like Protege, right? I mean, they're a sample company. They also have a marketing component, right, through their swag bucks and all of that, and then they repurpose that for sample. But a business like Protege makes most of their money from a volume standpoint via surveys. So for them to launch a qual at quant scale solution shows the transformation we've been talking about for quite some time now, from the survey to something that is more qualitative in mode, that's more interactive, more of a discussion, even though it is an AI agent doing that. Absolutely indicative of where everything is going. So thought that was interesting. Then we had an announcement from Alchemr, a new CEO, Martin Rugal. If I pronounced that correctly, apologies, Martin, if I did not get that exactly right. Alchemr's Survey Gizmo, they used to be called. I always love their approach of kind of a Lego approach. You can combine elements and components to build the right solution. There are a lot of offerings in the insight space that were built off of Survey Gizmo dash Alchemr, and particularly focused on the CX space. And here's what's interesting, because there's been a few things like this. Even last week, we talked about there were a few appointments, new CEOs. And when you see this, they're getting ready for next level growth. That's my default. There's something occurring behind the scenes that usually you bring in. There's a startup CEO, there's a growth CEO. Often there is a exit or next level growth CEO. And that's my guess, is that
well, and I think you and Will said last week, like, as a rule, there's too many kind of new hires for us to cover every week. Like, we wouldn't get to all the other stuff we like to talk about. But every now and then, one of these, certainly a CEO, which does indicate something is coming for that organization, and it may not come immediately, but if they're bringing in a new CEO for whatever reason, change will be coming, and we'll see it when it happens. So I think it's interesting to point out when it's obvious. And I think with this article thank you, Carly. This article that was sort of shared about it, the release about it is, his expertise is in enterprise technology. So that just goes to show you, what is that expertise going to do for them? And watch what it does, because that's how you're going to stay competitive in the marketplace. Is if you see what other people are doing and what skills they're shoring up at the top of the helm, then
absolutely. And especially that Alchemr is private equity backed. So whenever that's the magic combination in my mind. You see a private equity backed company, probably 3-4 years ago, they bring in a new CEO with specific expertise. It's usually indicative of directionally where they're going from an evolutionary standpoint, and it's just the way it works. It always works that way. So it's not talking out of school. I have no personal information about it, but it just shows they're ready for the next level, which will be some type of transaction of some form in the near future, because that's how these things work. And then speaking of
change. So, and this is interesting, because I actually was just speaking to this gentleman on the phone about our AI event, and this became a part of that conversation. These big changes where WPP has acquired New Commercial Arts, or NCA, which is going to be integrated into Ogilvy. So speaking of advertising, because we will get to advertising today, there's a lot going on in the advertising space right now. But, NCA, which is really only a company since it was founded in 2020, offers brand and customer experience services. So kind of bringing that expertise, because James Murphy, who
is amazing just by the name. I mean,
I guess.
I mean, I don't even know the guy, but he is kick ass.
I guess. So, all right. Well, there you go. So he's one of the co-founders of NCA. So he is going to be serving as the UK chief executive of Ogilvy, which is a big freaking deal. So imagine founding a company in 2020, and then here we are 4 years later. Oh, and by the way, you're going to be chief executive at Ogilvy. That must mean that, yes, this Murphy must have a lot to offer if he made such a big
Murphy, of course he does. So
being that ego right away, right? So anyway, yeah, it's just cool and interesting to think about the changes at Ogilvy as a result of all of this. So very interesting.
Yes, absolutely. And I will say somewhere down the line we're cousins, somewhere down the line. So I do think that's interesting, because I think it's very data driven, very CX focused was my understanding of NCA, and building that into Ogilvy it's not just a consolidation play, right? That's a transformation play as the agencies continue to transform as well with all of this. And that's probably a good segue into, well, what's transforming,
there's a lot transforming. We will come back to advertising, because again, we'll wrap the show with some other advertising things. But I mean, the two big obvious in your face tech announcements this week, OpenAI and the iPhone, like the Apple Intelligence. Now, we've been kind of pointing to all of these things, but the iPhone, and as an iPhone user, I have the iPhone 16 series on my mind. It's been confirmed as a launch. It's not going to be on sale till September 20th, which really is just a week away here in the US. And many other countries, they're going to have to wait a week. And by many other, I mean, I think the article said like 57 countries will be able to buy this on September 20th. But it's the Apple Intelligence features, right, that Lenny and I are paying attention to here. And they'll be, according to the author of this article that Carly just shared, just the beginning of this Apple Intelligence. So yes, there's other things going on with the phone, but that's not really what Lenny and I are that interested in. We're really interested in the AI capabilities.
Yeah. Well, it is interesting that the one piece is the chip. And I think that's actually worthwhile to have a conversation real quick about, because earlier this week I was thinking about that of adoption, right?
Yeah.
What drives consumer adoption? And certainly there's features and all that good stuff, right? But fundamentally for technology, it is availability and technological efficacy, which comes down to processing power and bandwidth. Those have been the limiting factors in many cases, and we've gotten through that for most of the world. Especially bandwidth. We got 5G now, and we'll have 6G in the next couple of years. Whatever, the whole planet will be connected, which it fundamentally is already. But the processing power for these solutions via chips continue to accelerate. It's why is NVIDIA right now one of the most. So that's the other arms race, because the processing power and the bandwidth drives greater availability of the AI, and it can be embedded in more solutions. That's how this works, right? That infrastructure and capability. So now that we're with iPhone cracking that and having a new chip that powers it, we'll see that in every other device. That just has a new chip that can process the AI, and which will boost consumer adoption, because everybody will be used to now. AI on your phone.
You can interact just with your phone if you're an Apple user in this case, but it'll be on. Everybody will have their version of it at some point. Like this will just be our smartphones acting like. We've been saying, conversational AI with ChatGPT or whatever, is something that we leaned into, but we had a destination to go to. Well, we may be able to just pick up our phone and ask it a question and get the AI response. And that's interesting because it's built right into, our laptop. We could be sitting on our laptop and then just ask our laptop a question instead of having to go to an app or a website. Like it just will be integrated into our lives.
Yep. I did an update on, I'm an Android user and download an update. And now suddenly I have Google Genesis that's embedded in there. And that is the AI application that is embedded into all of the Google apps and the operating system of the phone. So I haven't tried it yet, but I noticed what's this? Oh, it's
available. It's not going to be like, if you are a user, it's just going to be there. So you don't even have to go out and, put in that much effort. It's just a feature of your product.
Right. And then, so the segue, right, is it, now bear in mind, that's the old AI. That's old. It's already outdated, right?
I know. All right. So OpenAI released o1, its first model with reasoning abilities. So this is a big deal, but also so you might have heard a bit about it. This is sort of the strawberry model. I know that you and I talked about it 2 weeks ago. I don't know if you and Will talked about it also. We've known this next model was coming. We, I think, have started talking about it 6 months ago, where we're like, by the end of the year, there'll be the next model. Well, it's here. It's being called o1 which I thought was interesting in this article that Carly just shared, to reset the counter back to 1. Like this is a
next generation.
This is a brand new start. So even that concept, right? That's a big deal to be like, we are already at the next gen, which is why at one point it was called it would be ChatGPT next or something. They're setting us up for this is next generation intelligence. Yep. And apparently it's really going to be super sharp for the math, for the coding, probably great for the analytics and the data, really strong there. A little less intelligence in its knowledge of the world, but in the research industry, I don't know if that matters. If it nails data synthesis down, I don't know. So here we go, but it's expensive.
Yeah.
So lots to talk about there.
Yeah. Well, I think that what's interesting is from this general purpose AI, right? So let's say what's in our phones, right? Or we're used to now they're addressing specific business use cases where rubber hits the road, right? Math, coding, those type of things that have real business everything. I don't mean to say they don't have business applications. Obviously they have. But when you get into that type of stuff, then that broadens. And organizations like you, especially in data driven industries like ours, it opens the door to do a hell of a lot more than we've been doing. Because now it's not just coding open ends, for instance, or analyzing unstructured data. Okay, now we'll be analyzing structured data, which were already there, but it wasn't quite. There's still very, this will open the door towards more and more of that happening.
And I think one of the things that was interesting in the article, and there's been other articles also. So when I say the article, it's the one I read, right before our call to make sure I knew this part of the conversation. It was talking about, oh my gosh, in my head, I used the concept of showing your work. It will explain.
Yes.
So I think what's really interesting about it is it will educate us. If we ask it to do something for us, it will do perhaps a better job also telling us what it did.
Right.
And I think that's, to me, one of the more interesting components is here's how I don't know, I'm imagining, here's how I'll handle this task, or here's how we would do that mathematically, or, here's some code, I just think it's really interesting that it will, for many of us who are not mathematicians or data scientists, it actually is going to be able to educate us.
Well, that's what reasoning. Now, so one of the articles we had put into the pick list, I think had and we did make it into this, but I'm going to mention it anyway, was I think our AI consciousness is going to happen. Come on. Right. And so Carly, I don't know if you probably can't see that, but from a link.
Yeah, but we're talking about science, we're talking about science and what we know is showing itself as possible, not speculative fiction.
Absolutely. No, this is real. But it is a step in those directions of enhanced capabilities. Because to your point, I don't want to go off in my usual sci-fi.
Just
I mean, I always want
pull you back to reality here.
Right.
Let's not go there.
But the capabilities are expanding,
Yeah.
and we continue to not have, we don't know where that's going to take us.
Yeah.
Right. So those possibilities that sound like sci-fi, when we have these new things that emerge, that things like reasoning, that gets us further down the road of
But
thinking of
it's
that world.
reasoning. It's reasoning in that it can learn patterns
Yes.
and data, and it's reasoning within a certain construct. It's not.
Correct.
It doesn't have self-perception and
Right.
like existential reasoning. Like it's
Yeah.
not there.
Got it.
So
Got it. Right. Yes. Reel me back in. But my real point is to take the singularity away for a second, right?
yeah,
That we're 3 years into this, and now we're resetting with a new standard that is focused on not just predicting the next word,
yeah,
which is fundamentally what LLMs have done, but now reasoning through complex problems. And that is a very different model than existed before. What's next?
yeah.
Right? What is the
What's
advancement that
Neat,
occurs next?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And I can't wait again. Like, Carly, I know we're a little early and we still have other stuff to talk about, but for our AI event, because when I tell you that Donovan Andrews, you can look him up online, check out his LinkedIn profile. The conversation he is going to lead us through to kick off this event on the 15th is, I literally on the call today, I was like, that's coming. That's going to be mind blowing. Like really smart, sharp guy from Ogilvy telling us a bit about some of the kind of with a futurist lens, but one based on like a significant amount of knowledge of that playing field. He is a consultant, has been a consultant for Ogilvy in AI transformation. So it's going to be a great, great talk. So please get yourselves signed up for our AI event. Use the exchange. Actually, it's exchange 30 will get you a discount on the pre-event, which is the paid ticket. The main event is free of charge. So
yeah, good shout out. And I'll ask something to that real quickly. I told you I've been in lots of conversations past couple of days around M&A and all this stuff.
Yeah.
I will tell you I can't tell you who, but there are companies in the market right now that will soon be launching solutions that, utilizing existing data driven by AI, replace the need to ask a question.
Yeah.
At least in some circumstances. So that future we've been talking about, right? It is not the future, it is the present. So these solutions are, and it's not just one company, there are multiple companies all going down this path and are ready to unveil their solutions that will fundamentally change the nature of research. We've talked about, all of these technologies drive us to the point where we are filling in gaps of information and driving into the why. Because the who, what, when, where, and how increasingly will be driven by existing data and sophisticated profiling that is virtually impossible. The difference between asking a person and asking the AI is negligible in terms of the results in side-by-side testing. So we are there. To your point, IXAI is the type of event, where those things are going to be front and center. And
well, and a lot of partners, they got the memo about bringing a client, right? So we have active case studies from just again, partners with big brands. We're taking the stage to show everybody how this is how brand A is using this technology with this particular partner. So across the whole event, you'll see partners, sure, but talking about real use cases with big brands, so that if you're a brand, you can be, kind of benchmarking what the other brands are doing. And if you're a partner, you can see what your competition is doing. Like, to me, this, without a doubt, is the event I've been most excited for, because the content is going to blow your mind. I mean,
absolutely,
the different types of things we're talking about. And I'm not just talking about my ass, friends. Like, I mean it. I'm in this agenda, and I am so, anyway, and we're going to be talking about using it, not just for, these use cases, as I said, yes, we'll be talking about digital twins. Yes, we'll be talking about different models for sentiment analysis. We'll be talking about new product development and use cases there. We'll be talking about early stage forecasting. We'll be talking about strategic intelligence in general, not just soup to nuts, call it scale, but we're talking about all of the different pillars of an organization leaning into AI to help them with their insights work. It's going to be genius. And of course, we're going to cover data quality. And of course, we're going to talk about AI washing. And we'll be talking about some other stuff as well. I mean, just so much.
Right. And do you guys see how this works, our audience? Right. I mean, we do this show every week because this is our, it's a feed. We're looking for examples of these changes happening while also prompting us to think about what does that look like. And then we take all this information and we build events. To help demonstrate like IXAI of here's what's happening right now. So when we keep harping on, you got to get on this train. It's not because we're, it's not a hypothetical. So
I do wonder if other people like this stuff as much as we do. So please let us know that you like this stuff as much as we do, because Lenny and I really do geek out about it. It's like it is what we have in common, right? The most is our geeking out about this stuff. But please give us feedback. Again, the exchange at greenbook.org. You can just let us know that, yep, we geek out with you. So anyway, we'd love to hear from you. And now I have 2
more quick stories. So
let me ask this.
The Roblox meta marketing world for brands.
Roblox. Yes, Roblox.
Roblox. Sorry, I don't. Okay, Roblox. Apologies, Roblox. I don't play it, and neither do my kids.
You don't have. Yeah, I don't have little people anymore either. But my people were big Minecraft people. So for a while there, I was calling Minecraft, and my kids would come after me. They're like, "It's not Minecraft," and I'd be like, "Okay."
Although at least it makes you think. My kids play Minecraft as well, and you do have to use your brain anyway.
Yeah. My kids all the way up to 25. I mean, whatever, they love that anyway. Platform. But what they're doing at Roblox is really interesting because they've launched a branded virtual experience called the Brands Experience to showcase advertising collaborations in their world, so that if you are a brand who hasn't ventured into the metaverse yet, you can go to this place and see. It's like benchmarking virtual advertising with companies like Walmart, Universal, Adidas, Paris Hilton. I mean, there's some cool stuff that's happening there that other brands can go in and check out. I mean, I thought this was brilliant. What a great way to do it. What a great way to showcase it. It's almost like a brand expose, but in the metaverse. So come and see what's possible. It's good stuff.
Yeah, these experiments were done with Sims, Second Life. I mean, these early iterations of the metaverse. But a designated world for a brand who's considering it to have that destination to say, I will join you in this world to see what's possible, is what I think is really, really cool. It's really transparent. Let's go see what other people are doing. It's actually helping to elevate the whole concept across the CPG space, right? Instead of it feeling so competitive. It feels like, I don't know. I just really like it. I think it's cool, and it is
good for them.
It is. It's it's the early iterations of what I always refer to as the Ready Player One universe, right? That idea. We're getting there. All right, you want to wrap up because you found this last one, which
I thought
was really cool.
Yeah, I think it's interesting, and I feel like it's been talked about for a long time. But the UK Friends has put into place. They've confirmed a ban on junk food ads, pre-watershed junk food ads is what it says, but junk food advertising, define junk food advertising, but you all know what it probably is, banned on TV before 9 p.m., along with a total ban on paid online ads for unhealthy food and drinks. That is monumental change.
I think so too.
Because that's
bring it on here.
Change. Bring it on here in the U.S. Absolutely. I don't know if we'll go there, but it's all aimed at taking on childhood obesity, which, it shouldn't be existing. But I think you and I probably grew up on ads for Pop-Tarts after school. So
grew up on Pop-Tarts. What are you talking about? I mean, Pop-Tarts and Kool-Aid. I mean, I didn't know anything else existed. What are you talking about?
I know. And the soda ads and the candy ads and the gosh, the Doritos and the potato chips and all of that stuff that, believe me, has a place in our home as well. So I don't want to pretend to be that person, because I'm not, because my son calls them bedritos, actually, because he likes to literally, like in college, was like, they're bedritos, they're not Doritos. So anyway, so we're not those people. However, the idea that parents can do a little more gatekeeping because your kids aren't clamoring quite the same way because it hasn't been drilled into your head that these are the best. I know one of my son's friends, the same kid who does like bedritos, came over to our house one time and was like, oh, can I have some of your Doritos? My mother never buys this. And it was so forbidden fruit, but he saw it all the time and wanted it desperately. So I just love this effort, and I wish the US would do something similar.
I agree.
I wonder if our ad conglomerates will allow it. And I wonder if the big brands will get on board with it, because we love you, Coke and Pepsi and Frito-Lay. We do. We love you, but
yeah. Well, I mean, think how we grew up, right? Saturday morning cartoons, right? And that we sat there eating the sugary cereal. At least I did, and Saturday morning watching the commercials for the sugary cereals. And
I know. It's really unbelievable when you think about it. So anyway, that's it. That's a wrap. Way to go, UK. Lots going on with the UK today.
Yep.
Again, shout out to the team at Research Live, because a lot of that stuff doesn't come our way specifically. So we like to tune into that to see what they're sharing over the pond.
Research Live and Daily Research News Online.
All of those. Yeah. Good stuff. Keep it coming. Keep it coming.
Yep. All right. That's it. Guess that's a wrap.
That's our show. That's our show. Thank you so much. Everybody have a great weekend. We'll see you next week.
Yep. Thanks, everybody. Take care.
Bye, Lenny. Bye, all.
Bye.